The Senate will now have before it for final consideration House Bill number 516 as amended in the Senate.
All this bill does, Mr. President, is it simply does one thing. It answers the question about whether Idaho taxpayers should be forced to fund the administrative operations of a private Washington, D.C. based political organization. And if this bill passes, what we're basically saying is that you can't give away taxpayer resources to do the teachers' unions, to do their work for them.
But I do know this, IEA is made up of your local teachers. We volunteer our time to work on education issues that matter to Idaho kids. We are your neighbors. We're active members of your communities. We're your coaches. And as you know, throughout this country, teachers have stood in the line of fire to shield your children. And they would do it in a heartbeat because those kids in that classroom, they're ours. They're ours too. This bill is not needed. It's punitive. It's not a bill that will help recruit teachers and keep teachers in Idaho. It will drive them out of the profession. I've already heard, in just 2 days, I've heard from hundreds of teachers who say, we can't take it anymore. Why does the Idaho legislature hate public education and public school teachers? I don't have an answer for them. I keep saying, hang in there. Our kids need you. But this bill is a nasty.
Point of order, Mr. President. I think there's some lines being crossed here. I think we should maybe debate the bill. Thank you.
What we do as a union is we enhance our skills. We collaborate with our districts. Yes, we come down and share our ideas on the bills that we're introducing on our own time, on Martin Luther King Day, virtually, yes. We don't do union activities during our workday where kids are there. This bill is just too much, in my opinion.
I can't just show up with a thermos and a lunch bucket and go to work. I've got to be trained. And a lot of that training occurs in union environments, and that's no different than the teachers who train and perfect their skills. I've been around here long enough to remember that when teachers were really at odds with the legislature, there was not a good feeling and a lot of animosity. But then, gentleman on the second floor order started recognizing increasing pay, increasing respect. The current gentleman on the second floor has continued that. And we have built towards a more respectful environment for our teachers. You know, we talk about whether a teacher comes down and testifies on a bill or not. Let's think that through a little bit, senators. Mayors, county commissioners, firefighters, the list goes on as long as we want to keep naming them, come to this building, as is their right, and they testify on behalf of legislation or against it. Think about the irony of why we're picking on the profession that we say is our most important, that's to educate our kids.
Now more than ever, we need our teachers directed and focused on teaching literacy, on making sure that the next generation is competent in mathematics, not lobbying, not working on social issues, but working on the hard and good work that they do of teaching the next generation.
I guess the only thing I want to say is this is a continuation of an assault on educators, and it's hard to view it.
The gentleman is entitled to his opinion, as you are in your debate, and he prefaced it that way, so I'll allow it. That's his view of the world. Yours is arguably different. So, and that's what makes the world go round. So
Thank you, Mr.
keep
President.
the world turning, Senator Rudke.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am simply responding to arguments that this isn't bad for teachers, it's not against educators, that people know educators, they have, friends and family, and so if I'm voting for this bill, how could it be bad for educators? I just, in my opinion, I think this is a continued assault on education and public education in this state. It really is hard when you put it in the context of all the things we have done just in the last 5 years or so. To view it any other way than maybe as the pièce de résistance on our efforts to degrade public education. And I hope we get this out of our systems and we start to rebuild education. We should be seeking out the best and the brightest in this state and asking them, begging them to become public educators, to work with our kids, to help them achieve the best that they can be.
I think there needs to be maybe some more sit down to address some of these things, maybe to address some pieces of it that people are not agreeing with. And having said that, I think there was an opportunity to do that. So I wish we could sit down and redo this bill. So I will be a no.
The vote count shows 20 in favor with 14 against and 1 absent, a majority having voted in the affirmative. House Bill number 516 is amended in the Senate, has passed the Senate, and will be transmitted back to the House.